Holy crap, Lycoris Recoil keeps hitting. Episode 2 was absolutely phenomenal, and I just cannot wait for more. This is going to probably turn out to be one of my favorite action shows if it keeps this up, because A1 Pictures is just, it keeps hitting. Now, this is the sad thing, is like how busy I am right now with all the content that I have to cover right now. It kind of is disheartening to myself that I can't go through and really figure out who is behind a lot of this stuff. Like, who is really putting this stuff together, because there's a lot of chief directors, there's a lot of animation directors, there's a lot of directors behind this series, and I don't know exactly who I should be praising for some of the creativity that they're putting in the action scenes in this series. Because I think that's, like I said with my first impressions with the first episode, what really sets Lycoris Recoil aside from anything else is not just having a gunfight or something like that, but actually having where there's intricacies to it. There's like, it's almost like there's an instructor that's orchestrating an entire ensemble of stuff happening that really makes the combat sequences like creative. There's something to it than just, just bullets flying. There's actually some cool little strategies the characters are using, or just the on the moment using something as a shield that just really makes it super creative. And also to have like this really phenomenal, just like timing the music along with the action as well, just makes it so much greater. But yeah, gush. Episode 2 of Lycoris Recoil was fantastic. But yeah, the story elements of this episode was fine. I think what I'm getting at this point is having this guy that I'm already assuming is going to be the father of Chisato, this Mr. Yoshi. But Yoshi seems to have some sort of connection with Chisato. Like they talk on a regular basis. They're very friendly with each other, but at the same time, Mika doesn't seem like he likes seeing Chisato talk to him. And again, that's where I'm drawing my conclusion. That's obvious that that's her father. But it does seem like everybody that's a part of this organization, this group that become Lycoris, they don't have family. They're orphans that are trained to be assassins. They don't even have their name in the family registry. At some point, they mention this hacker, Kurumi, that we end up finding out her name's or at least she names herself Kurumi. I don't even know if her name's Kurumi. She says, do you want to leave the country with me, Chisato? And she's like, no, we can't do that. My name's not even in the family registry. I wouldn't even be able to get a flight. So it makes me believe this guy, Yoshi, at some point gave Chisato up, and she became one of these Lycoris, and then now he seems to have interest in her again. Like, he's going to see her again, even though he's probably not supposed to. But this guy, Yoshi, he seems like he's manipulating things. Like, I have zero doubt. Like, I 100% believe that he knows that this hacker's still alive. Even though he had this hacker killed, I think that he was trying to force the hacker to have to flee to this particular place to be with Chisato. Like, he's trying to form a group. Behind the scenes, he's the puppet master that's got Takina there, and I believe he got Kurumi there. All in the guise that he's trying to take care of a problem. But yeah, he hires Robota to take care of the squirrel or nut in order to get rid of them. And so Chisato and Takina are paid to basically protect him. It just leads to them. I like how they emphasize at the beginning of this episode how much more Takina pre-plans things more than Chisato. As they get ready to go, Chisato's like, you got the lowdown right? Yes, I got everything. All right, let's go. It's like Chisato doesn't even care to find out what they're doing. They just end up going. And so Takina's having to lay out everything they're doing as they go along until eventually they get to the Supaka. I love the Supaka thing. She's all super excited because they have to get in this car and drive, which apparently you can't be a Lycoris unless you can drive. But then, yes, Nut shows up and is like in his own car and like, oh no, the Supaka. I want to drive in the Supaka. It was really goofy. Like, they do really good in slipping in the humor here and there. This is probably the only like action scene stuff that was kind of shrugged to me because it's a lot of CGI car. They do a good job of blending it in there, but doing like these crazy, jump and cartwheels and somersaults with the vehicle just to attack the bad guys was just kind of, yeah, okay, sure. You got enough momentum, I guess. But yeah, the later scene, that's when things really hyped up for me. The action scenes in this later segment was really fantastic. Like I said, having this whole segment where they first get attacked and Takina's hiding behind this suitcase, which we find out later what's in it, which is kind of scary. But I just love how she's on her back and she's kind of doing the whole back and forth, the sides, and shooting across behind the suitcase. It's so phenomenal. And then, yeah, Chisato jumping over and and firing down on them. It's good stuff. And just having these little goofy comedy routines in the middle of everything just to kind of throw some chaos in there about, don't protect the suitcase. Oh, we can't use it for cover. You didn't say anything about that. And then, yeah, Chisato just going crazy in this hallway was way cool. The guy's pulling the grenade and she runs up there and she knocks it out of his hand. But not only that, but then she takes him and throws him in front of the door just to use the pressure from the door to knock him out. It's so good. Like I said, the creative mind behind these action scenes is just phenomenal. And then, yeah, having Chisato do her magical bullet dodging routine, which was really cool because they added the music in with it. The moment that she starts doing it, the music ramps up. It's so good. It's so good. That seems to be Chisato's kind of signature thing. Like, obviously being able to dodge bullets the way she does, like she stays very calm and very focused, and then she just kind of sidesteps and gets away from the bullets. But it's like her pose, like she gets herself cramped up, and that's like her pose that she does whenever she's dodging the bullets, which I don't know if they'll eventually get into, like that's some sort of superpower that she has, or some sort of, maybe she was a part of a lab experiment. That's what her father gave her up to. And yes, after this, we're getting that lethal versus non-lethal thing kind of really hitting hard again, when the idea that Chisato stays behind as she's patching him up. He's like, what are you doing? We're enemies kind of thing. And she's like, well, where are you going to eat tonight? Like she's talking to him like, you're going to go somewhere after this, right? You're human, basically. You are just like me. We are all the same here. But then they kind of circle back to this later on when Takina confronts her. Like, we could have failed the mission. Yes, Nut was actually inside the suitcase. She's just fine. Mizuki was actually in the squirrel outfit. It was like some super bulletproof vest. Everything was according to Mika and Mizuki's plan to have them basically fake the death of Nut. But at the same time, Takina realizes at that point they still technically failed. Like, their mission was to protect Nut, and in a sense they failed. And she's blaming Chisato because she stayed behind to help an enemy. But the way Chisato puts it, I like it. It's like this idea of, right now, they were the bad guys. They were the enemy then. But they're not always the enemy. It's the old idea that they're family. They have siblings. They have people to go home to. And to think that just because right now we're in a gunfight and they're the enemy, that they should die, doesn't make sense. Even though Takina's like, look, we're Lycoris. We're given the authority to kill. So I really like Chisato's mindset in that whole regard. Even though, again, to Takina's respect, it puts their lives in danger. But I'm liking that with the end of the episode, we kind of get a sense that Takina's changed a little bit. Like, she does something goofy, which is completely out of left field, and it obviously surprises Chisato and Takina. She takes her hair tie out and she shoots it at Chisato. And it has this moment, like the two of them go, wait, what? Like, you just did that? So I'm hoping that with like the previous conversation about, they're our enemy now, but not necessarily always, they have family to go to kind of idea, plus Takina actually being goofy, I'm hoping that they'll get away from this. Like, I don't want to have 5 episodes of this argument of lethal versus lethal, because I think we've hit the point. Like, right there, I think was a really solid point to hit. Takina doesn't have to go full non-lethal going forward. Don't get me wrong. I'm just hoping that Takina understands Chisato at this point. We understand each other. We don't have to agree, but we understand each other. Let's not drag this out. But it was really great to finally see Kurumi. I seen her PV, so I knew that she was going to be voiced by the same voice as Tama. So I'm like, yes, that adorable voice. I love it. I wasn't really expecting her to be in the suitcase, which I probably should have seen. I knew it was going to be a cute girl. Like, I knew that Nut was going to be some cute girl. I mean, she was too obvious. And like I said, I knew that she wasn't dead in the last episode. I kind of just assumed that she was going to be inside the squirrel outfit, that it would be a bulletproof vest squirrel, which it did end up being that. But yeah, like I said, to the credit of what I believe Yoshi's doing, I think we now got our formed party here. I'm not sure who else they might add to the group after this. But super great episode. Really loved it. Oh, by the way, OP was fantastic. Claris did the music. It wasn't one of Claris's best work, but at the same time, the animation in the OP was absolutely phenomenal. I just love it. Just looks so fluid. They did like this thing where it goes inside the restaurant. And I love that instead of typically these days, a lot of these studios will do like a CGI environment, and then it'll zoom in on the characters who are 2D, and it will kind of just pan around. But it looks like instead what they actually did was they actually made the background itself shift. And it almost looks jarring because it's kind of snapshotting around, but it's not CGI, so it looks a lot more fluid to 2D characters. Yes, I just said fluid to to jitteriness, but that's fine. But additionally, at the very end of the OP, I really love the butt kicking. Like Chisato bumps Takena's butt with her foot, and then Takena just like winds up and kicks her. I'm like, it's so true to the characters. It's really great. I kept calling him Nut. It's Walnut. Anyways, it was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. More great action scenes. A lot of really fun, goofy comedy to kind of mix in there to kind of break up the mood. Just some really great moments in this episode. Because Mizuki had a picture of Chisato after they had failed the mission and she was bawling her eyes. It was a great shot. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment. Let me know if you're going to be catching up to Lycoris Recoil. Are you waiting for that 2-episode mark to get an idea? Should I really watch it? I think at this point I can sell on just action and just great chemistry alone, and phenomenal animation as always. The characters look so fantastic. If you're new to my channel, I would greatly appreciate if you consider subscribing to the channel so you can get all my content. I do news reviews, first impressions, episode by episode impressions of shows that I really enjoy and want to dive into. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I definitely appreciate everybody that considers, and y'all take care.